So he was about 21 years old when he came to Konya, and then he was getting a traditional Muslim education. Okay, his father often sent him to Syria to study with renowned teachers, and then he came back. And at one point, I think he was maybe I forgot his exact age at that time, but when his father died, then people kind of assumed that he will take over teaching in the mosques, even though he was a very young man at that time. And he did take over, and people are very impressed because he was not only very well educated, he was very intelligent. He explained Islamic teachings very well. And then after some time, a man came by the name Burhanuddin Muhakkik. He was a former student of Bahaddin Walad, who was Maulana's father. Maulana's father's name was Bahaddin Walad. And Bahaddin Walad, I told you, was a Sufi sheikh. And one of his students was Burhanuddin Muhakkik, back in Balkh. Okay. Now this man showed up in Konya. Okay. And he, by this time, was a kind of a Sufi master himself. And only in his hand, Mevlânâ Rūmī was initiated into Sufism, into Tasawwuf. Okay. And for the next 10 years, he went through a training under him, under this Burhanuddin Muhakkik. And after that, he was teaching also. He was teaching, and he was going through as a regular Sufi seeker. He was going through the practices, and a regular Muslim. He's a Maulana, he's a scholar, teaching in Konya. People from far and wide used to come and listen to him, and they were very impressed. So one day, at the end of these 10 years, you had this guy named Shams Tabrizi come here, from Tabriz, Shams Tabrizi. And he was an extraordinary master. Of course, people didn't know, but he was. And he heard about Rumi being a great scholar. So when Rumi, I don't want to prolong this story, but they met here, and they really liked each other. And Shams stayed in Konya with him in his house. Rumi by then was married, he had children. So Shams, and he had students. So when Shams came and stayed with Rumi, Rumi was so mesmerized by his charisma, and he seemed like the voice of God, you know. He was such a great master. And he wanted to learn everything he could learn from this great master. Hello, do you want to come join us? I think she's Turkish and okay, all right. So Shams stayed here for some time, and then he disappeared. Okay, without telling Rumi what is happening. And then Rumi sent his son Sultan Valad to find him. He heard that he went to Damascus, you know, this Sham, and that was the first time he wrote a poem to Shams, begging him to come back, and he came back with Rumi's son. And again he stayed for some time, and again he disappeared. And people have different opinions. Many people think that he was murdered by some people in Konya who didn't like him. And others think that because he was a great master, he wanted to remove himself, so he's not worshipped, or he's not idealized by these students. Okay, both are feasible, but in Konya, people definitely believe that he was murdered and he's buried not too far from here. There is a mazar of Shams, and people go there to pray. It's actually inside a jami, inside a mosque. Okay. Now, after Shams came, met Rumi and this state. It was as if, this ocean of Rumi's heart was already full, and when Shams came, it began to spill, began to flood everything around. And this extraordinary stream of poetry began to come through him. And people began to write it down. And often he would be whirling, holding the mosque's pillars and like going around and around and saying things. And they would write down. And this is, you have from this pouring out of inspirational words, not a regular poet, this inspirational poetry coming out, people wrote it down. And that's what we call, the Masnavi is one collection, and Diwan-e-Shams Kabir is another collection. He's most well known for these collections. There are also speeches written, he gave in like khutbah, in Friday khutbahs, he was like a regular teacher in the mosques. And those are kind of noted down by his students and put together. It's called Fihi Ma Fihi. You should know. Fihi Ma Fihi. In it, what is in it? Yeah. Okay. I don't think he gave it this name, but I think the students gave it that name. But it's a very good collection, about 100 something of his khutbahs. So he of course did not start Sufism. It started, according to me and according to most scholars and other Sufis, with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he's our model. He's not. Nobody else is our model. Okay, Rumi is not our model, but Rumi is a representative of that tradition, and he is somebody who inherited the wisdom of the Prophet, wisdom of the Quran, passed on from master to master to master to master. And he was one. He was a wonderful example. What you can say about him is that he was one of the most beautiful spokesperson for this tradition. People often ask me, what was his philosophy? He has no philosophy of his own. He's speaking for what Allah said, what the Prophet said, But he's saying it in a very beautiful poetic language. He didn't have to go to war or run a country, all this crazy stuff that our Prophet had to do. He could just sit at one place and explain things through poetry. So you don't have anything controversial, so-called controversial about his life. So everybody loves him. But he's saying what the Quran says, what the Hadith says, and he's giving beautiful explanations of that. Okay. But the path was created by our Prophet. And he is somebody who walked on the path with his heart and soul. And Allah enlightened him with mysteries that we cannot easily grasp. So that's who he is. He is a scholar who had the great opportunity to meet other great scholars and sheikhs, and Allah blessed him with this enlightened vision, opened his qalb, and things came out of him. So that's what it is. Okay. So that's what Rumi is. It's speaking about the Quran and Hadith. Nothing else. If you read the Masnavi, you'll see every now and then there's something from the Quran, something from Hadith, and he's kind of explaining it through stories and examples, etc.
But that is made from
Quran. Rumi himself said, this is the root of the root of the root of our religion. Okay. So this is the root of the deen. It's like giving the essence of the deen. And many people throughout history have seen Masnavi, it's like the Quran, a commentary of the Quran. Okay. It's like a tafsir in a poetic way. Okay. Now, if you don't mind, our brother Hamza, who was mysteriously called to this path actually, to Maulana when he was in Spain, in Granada. He's from Granada, from Andalusia. And when he first heard the nay, his knees began to shake. And he discovered he was a rock guitarist, And Allah changed him. Now he's trying to be a good Muslim and learning the nay. picked up from the rock band. And he plays beautifully, even though he's started learning quite recently. So, instead of me blah blah, I think we should listen to him.
That was a good thought.
Thank you. Please. Yes, please. Yes. Good. Wonderful. Okay. Where are you from?
We are from Ukraine.
Ukraine. Oh.
We are traveling around the world.
Ah. He's from Spain. He's from UK.
Okay.
France. And I'm from Bangladesh. I'm a Bangladeshi American Turk.
Sorry that we are late.
No.
We could not find.
Yeah, of course, it's not possible to find.
It's a secret.
Some really precious things, not easy to find.
The second day we try to find.
Oh, of course. There is no advertisement, you see. They have done a wonderful job of advertising in a Turkish booklet.
Yes.
Completely crazy. So I told them, what is this? Nobody can ever find this out. So today they have put a few signs here and there. Okay. Anyway, if you have any questions, I'm supposed to be the one leading this discussion. I teach in a university here. I know a little bit about, yes.
I would not say that I have some questions now, but our purpose to come here is to find more about like philosophy, of Mevlana, Sufis, and from our experience, I had a great conversation with one Ukrainian Sufi. It's Zari Garunts, maybe.
No, I don't. There are so many all over the world.
Yeah. And what I'm interested in, I'm interested in roots of feelings and emotions. It's actually business of my life. I make research in that, writing a book about all the feelings and emotions. I know them from different
Feelings and emotions of different mystical paths, or Sufism, or human.
What
Sufi studies on feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, like
Good,
that.
yes.
That's the most interested topic.
Oh, I hope he doesn't hit the table.
Control.
She likes to scroll.
Intelligent.
Okay, good. It's very good actually. It develops the brain. Physical movement is very good for the brain for children. I have been reading about it lately. Anyway, really, it's very. If children don't move around, their brain do not develop properly.
He moves a lot.
Yeah.
We are traveling around the earth on the bicycles. So
Okay.
He has a lot of movement.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So let me try to tell you impromptu about feelings and emotions. Islam emphasizes truth, seeking the truth. Okay. And love is a byproduct of that. Okay. Emotion is there, but beyond that, seek the truth in our foundational principle, which is not different from Sufism. Sufism and Islam is same. Sufism is just practicing Islam with depth, under the guidance often of a Sufi master. But the principal message of Islam is La ilaha illallah. Truth is one, God is one. And so you, me, she, he, she, and all of us, and this whole, everything in creation, we originate from the same source. And they're sustained by the same. So we are all interconnected. If we really are convinced of that truth, then we will treat each other with love, with respect. Okay, we might say the oneness of reality. That's Allah is one. Allah is described in the Quran by like 99 names. One of them is Al-Wadud, the loving. Of course, He's the loving, but He's also the truth. He's also the reality. He's also the kind one. He's also the generous one, the merciful one.
Yeah, I understand that idea, but what is interesting for me, if we will take Christianity, for example, there are 7 vices, like glory, sadness, pride, what else?
7 deadly sins.
Not 7, not deadly sins.
It's not
vices.
deadly.
Vices.
Like traits of character.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, those are also sins in, definitely discouraged in Islam. You know, anger, hatred, envy, jealousy, all those are.
Sources where to find that information.
Where?
Yeah.
If you read, the Prophet's sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, what he said about anger, he said nothing burns up your.
I don't mean what he said is about anger. I mean, is there the information about all feelings and emotions? I mean,
No, I know,
I
but
would say,
please go ahead.
I would say the best kind of commentary on Islam and Islamic philosophy would be the theologian and philosopher
What's it?
Abdul Hamid al-Ghazali.
Huh.
Muhammad al-Ghazali.
Well, of course. I mean, he's one of the great
He
ones.
was a philosopher as well as a theologian. He
Mhm.
wrote a famous book because he lived at a time where the Muslims just interacted with Greek sources, Greek philosophy,
Mhm.
and so on. So it was a time of Ibn Sina, Ibn Rushd, and so on. There was a lot of philosophies as far as Plato and the Hellenist philosophies as well. And so he countered that in some of his arguments. And he was kind of the most celebrated Islamic theologians. A lot of what we know now of Islam kind of came from him because Islam was then forming and conceptualizing. And he wrote a lot on kind of the depth, the secrets, the foundations of religion in his big commentary, Ihya Ulumuddin, the revival of Islamic sciences. Some of the chapters are translated, but I think some aren't. But if you want to see emotions and feelings, I think that will be a really good book. He also wrote a book called Tahafut al-Falasifa, The Incoherence of Philosophers, where in it he kind of debunked some of the philosophies about God and that's emanating from Greeks. So I think he's if you want a philosopher as well as a theologian.
Muhammad Ali, no?
Al-Ghazali, his name is Al-Ghazali, but he's not a recent figure. He's from
He's,
12th century.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But Rumi himself, you can read his writings. He's also one of the authorities in Islam. You know, he's from 13th century. Last 700 years, few people have had as much influence on the whole Islamic world as Mevlânâ Rūmī. Okay, so and there are many others. There are many others actually, but these are very well known. There are many great masters who never people heard of. When I met somebody in a village in Bangladesh, you know, nobody in the world knows about him. Maybe 200, 500 people know about him, but he was extraordinary. Okay. There was a great Sri Lankan master, a Sufi master from Sri Lanka who lived in America. He passed away about 20, 30 years ago. But he was extraordinary. He was like Mevlânâ Rūmī himself. You know, you don't know about him. His name is
Maybe you know some names?
Yes.
Because we are traveling, you know. We
Yeah.
travel now and there. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting for us to meet with
I can give you some website where we can check. This particular man I'm talking about, who lived in America, was originally from Sri Lanka. There is a lot of information in that website. Yes, I know.
He's a sheikh I listen to.
Yes, he's also. I mean, there are in England, for example, there is a British Muslim who is also a very well-respected master in the Islamic tradition now. His name is actually Timothy Winter, but he's now called Timothy Winter. He's also known as Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad. I mean, he's still known as Timothy Winter. There's nothing wrong. It's not about name. You don't have to change your name, even though people often do. Islam doesn't care what name you have, even though it encourages meaningful names.
He teaches at Cambridge University, but he's also a Muslim theologian.
But he's also he's a Sufi. I mean, and there are many others, extraordinary ones. But you know, I mean, you will see in ordinary life, you know, people often blame religion for this war, that war, but in everyday life, it contributes tremendously in ordinary person's life. You know, so you will see ordinary people, they're doing praying and crying. They may not be Sufis. They're just ordinary Muslims, pious, only thinking about their relationship with God and if they're doing what God wants them to do, and being emotional like that, without ever reading Rumi or this Al-Ghazali. You know, you can just read the Quran and feel emotionally moved, if you have the faith.
All the time we feel some emotions, even now. It's not idea to feel emotionally, you know.
Right.
For example, for now, we can be patient.
Sorry, I think she wants to say something. I'm sorry. So you want to say something?
No.
You are raising your hand?
Because of the light.
Oh, I see. All right. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
It's okay. So, you know, my field of interest for now, for last 15 years, I think, it's the knowledge about categories of emotion. Because when you say I'm emotionally or maybe I feel some feeling, it's nothing. Because it's like I live. I live and I feel something.
Right.
Every moment I feel some emotion or feeling like that. But the most interesting idea in every religion, in Muslim religion, Christianity, in psychology, for atheists as well. So it doesn't matter.
Psychoanalysis.
It doesn't matter what people believe in, even sciences. How to understand yourself, how to understand what you feel now, and how make yourself feeling better. Like when you feel sad, how to be happy, and understanding what feelings can be. It's really important, because for now I see from all over the world. I'm looking for 20 years already, and we at the end we created such a system because we didn't find in Muslim. I read Quran, I read Bible, I read a lot about Buddhism. I read all the books about psychology of emotions. From Darwin, Freud, and all of them.
Yeah, it's good. The field is good psychoanalysis.
Yeah.
Psychoanalysis.
Yeah, but psychoanalysis it's from Freud mostly. But there is no also categorization of emotions. You know, when you come to psychologist or priest, usually those people can say what will be in the end of the practice, in the end of the conversation, like that. And it's really interesting for me, because when you understand the point you can be after, so you can realize the way.
Right. Well, you know, everything, every religion has a doctrine as a method, and a method of getting there. A religion doesn't come only with doctrines. Where?
I mean, if we will take emotionally, for example, why people come to religion? Because they want to be happy,
right?
Or because they want to feel easy life.
Well, it is not. I mean, emotion is one thing. You know, we can also say intelligence. Everybody has a question about life. We are not. There is no human being who do not ask certain questions. Okay, and like, what is this? Why am I here? Even I myself, when I was 11 years old, I used to ask myself in Bangladesh, the I that I am, what is it? At 11, I had this question, and some people told me, that's a crazy question, what are you talking about? But, you know, this is a question. So it was not exactly an emotional need. Like, I wanted to know. Then I might have an emotional feeling, like, where do I belong, or where do I go, or where can I find rest? See, in Islam, we talk of Allah as a being out there, but at the same time, it's a reality everywhere. Okay, so when we talk about emotions, we may be talking more from a standpoint of feeling a separation from something. But knowledge knowledge can help answer the call of some emotional need, and emotion can also drive us towards an answer if it is sincere. And if you turn that emotion towards God, why do people need? Because people have questions, people have needs. By birth, we are of the nature that we have certain needs.
Yeah.
And we need love. We love, and by the way, we also love beauty. We love beauty, we love generosity, we love kindness. Rumi said something very wonderful, that everybody is seeking God, whether they know it or not. Even those who call themselves atheists are seeking God. Why? Because all of us, we love someone or something. Even the atheist loves maybe his cat. Why? If you ask the atheist, why do you love your cat? Oh, he's such wonderful, beautiful, kind, generous. And those are the qualities of God. So, by nature, human beings are made in a way that we seek wisdom, we seek love, we seek beauty. We love beauty. These are the explanations given.
I think to your answer, there is no one size for all. So different people go into religion for different reasons. Some because of some tend to be more literalist, some tend to be more mystical, and so on. So I don't think people go into religion because they think, wow, I mean, for example, I want to believe in a hereafter. That's why everybody believes in religion.
Somebody comes to find the answers for the questions, but it's also a feeling. Feeling which proves you to find the answers to the questions. It's interest. It's a feeling. When you feel this interest, when you don't feel interest, you will not go anywhere. So
right, but you can say it in many different ways, but why do people go for religion? People have a need to believe that there must be something beyond what seems to be transient. There is, I think, that need. And that need, if not answered, at some point it can be emotionally strong.
I think
can drive you, to search for one. And now, since there are many different religions, and people say, "Oh, you have that need. Come, we believe this is how things happen." And that person will, gravitate to find that answer, whether you call it emotional need or however you might want to say.
Yeah, I understand.
I
feel it's so nice. She is at the center of this conversation,
But you have been doing for 20 years, and I'm not sure exactly what your project has materialized into.
For now, it will be a book. For now, we're just helping people with that knowledge. Like we took Russian language from Ukraine. We know not Russian, Slavic language. I made research in ancient languages as well. And after I didn't find the information about emotions from all the religions, from psychology, from esoterics, I found everywhere. I was looking everywhere. And we took language, put all the words which means emotions, like for example, bear is not emotion. And
sorry, bear?
Bear.
Bird.
Bear. This bear.
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 Oh, I see, the bear.
Yeah. Or dog is an animal, right? Not emotions. And sadness, for example, it's emotion. Interest is emotion. So like states of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And we categorize them all, 2000. There were 2000 words, we could categorize them. But, I did that because it's like a point to understand where you are now. Like we are sitting here, have a conversation, and for me, it's interesting to know what I'm feeling right now. Because if I will change my behavior, for example, like this. I can do like this, and it will be another emotion, you know? And I can do that consciously or subconsciously. And it's interesting to know what is happening with me like that. And I think the whole idea of psychology, of people who come to religion, of people's life, it's usually what they're feeling.
Okay, do you think you can control your feelings?
It's not about controlling, because controlling it's also fear. You know, when you start to control something, it's life is.
So can you make yourself more interested in football, for example? Make yourself interested in music?
Yes, I can, but there is, there are a lot of ways. After that, I found a lot of knowledge about. Lena's English is a bit better than mine. So.
The point of our study and Vladimir's focus is mostly on emotions. Our research differentiates a little bit feelings and emotions. So what people usually call negative emotions is closer to feelings in our understanding. So what you're saying, interest, enthusiasm, that would be feeling. Whereas fear, anger, etc., that would be laziness, emotion. So mostly as for raising, like making yourself feel interest, that's probably
That's not possible.
as of now it is white spot in our study, because we don't have a lot of time and effort, but we help people to get rid of emotions.
Unwanted emotions.
You mean unwanted emotions?
Like depression, for example.
Well, in a Sufi way, getting away from these kind of things is to invoke God. You don't necessarily, okay, I would say this. You don't like say, oh, I have these feelings, how do I get rid of it? Think about that. You don't think about that negative feeling. Oh, I have some anger, I must get out of anger. No anger, no anger, no. You think of the opposite quality in a way. You think of the qualities of God, and wherever you focus your energy, that thing comes into you.
So is your main method science or is your main method?
I'm sorry, they are saying our time is finished. The seminar.